Today, Random Reads, we're looking at Stephen King, Rose Madder. I've read more Stephen King books than anybody else's books, so any other author. I've read more Stephen King books. I think second would be either Dean Koontz or Kurt Vonnegut, one of the two. I was into Dean Koontz for a minute. I was into Stephen King for a lot longer. Still kind of am. He's a good author. A lot of different eras, different Stephen King eras, and I appreciate that. I don't know what this book is about. Never read it before. Never heard about it before. I'm gonna take a random dive in real quick, any place at all. Right there. Okay, this is all italics, so I think that might be something in the past or thoughts or something like that. So, mounted on the wall of a hunting lodge, Norman thought. His uniform was drenched scarlet from neck to knees. Norman didn't have the slightest idea how this man could still be alive, let alone conscious. I guess they must build cops tougher in the Midwest, he thought. Caw, the cop said urgently. Caw, ba, up. The voice was bubbly and choked, but still amazingly strong. Norman even knew what the guy was saying. He'd made a bad mistake there, a rookie mistake, but Norman thought this was a man who could have been proud to serve, who he could have been proud to serve with just the same. The letter opener handle sticking out of his throat bobbed up and down when he tried to talk in a way that reminded Norman of how Bull Mask looked when he manipulated the lips from the inside. Yes, I'll call for backup, Norman spoke with soft, urgent sincerity. He closed one hand on the cop's wrist, but for now, let's get you back to the car. Come on, this way, officer. He would have used the cop's name, but didn't know what it was. The name tag on his uniform shirt was covered with blood. He couldn't very well call him Officer Al. He gave the cop's arm another gentle tug, and this time got him moving. Norman led the staggering, bleeding Charlie David cop with the letter opener in his throat back to his own black and white, expecting someone to come out of the steadily thickening fog at any moment. A man who'd gone to get a six-pack, a woman who'd been at the movies, a couple of kids on their way home from a date, maybe, God Save the King, an amusement park date at Edinger's, and when that happened, he'd have to kill them too. Once he got started killing people, it never seemed to stop. The first one spread like ripples on a pond. But no one came. There was only the disembodied voices floating across from the park. It was a miracle, really, like how Officer Al could still be on his feet, even though he was bleeding like a stuck pig and had left a trail of blood behind him so wide and thick that it was starting to puddle up in places. The puddles gleamed like engine oil in the fog-faded glow of the street lamps. Norman paused to pluck the Beeves' fallen hat off the steps, and when they passed the open driver's side window, the black and white, he leaned through quickly to drop it on the seat and pluck the keys from the ignition. There were a formidable number of them on the ring, so many that they couldn't lie flat against one another but stuck out like sun rays in a child's crayon drawing. But Norman had no trouble picking out the one which opened the trunk of the car. Come on, he whispered comfortingly. Come on, just a little further, then we can get back up rolling. He expected the cop to collapse, but he didn't. He had given up on trying to pull the letter opener out of his throat, though. Watch the curve there, officer. Whoops-a-daisy. Stephen King doing his thing. Good writer, obviously. It's odd sometimes because sometimes you can get what's the word I'm looking for here? Seduced by the technicality, the technical prowess of somebody, and not really notice that you're just going for a basic ride. a real basic ride. That's what I feel like sometimes with Stephen King stuff. But he does have a sense of flipping the script, and it can go either way. He can kind of get a little hacky, who might I say, or he can get deep and interesting. And I feel like the deep and interesting happens more often than not, or is more impactful than the hackiness. So you remember it better. At least it's what I do. My favorite Stephen King book, Drawing of the Three, the second book in the Dark Tower series. Excellent, weird book. I haven't read it in a long time, but I have read it like 3 or 4 times. Excellent, weird. I like the drugs in his books. I like that. And Firestarter was actually really good too. So maybe I'm more of that era, or those eras of Stephen King. His new stuff is good, but I'm not beating down the doors for it. You know what I mean? I'm not beating down the doors for much, for being honest. It's the most I've done as far as reading in a long time. But it doesn't really fucking matter to me at all. Because I have no idea what's going on. So, Rose Matter, I give it a whatever. It's not, it hasn't been a lot that's really stuck out to me. I've read books where I feel like if I just picked them up and randomly read a passage out of them, I'd be hooked. And none of these books have done that. The Moby Dick was pretty close. And I guess maybe even that first one, Franz Kafka. You know, but I already read Moby Dick once. I think it's a fantastic book. I've read a lot of Franz Kafka. I think he's a great writer. So bring my own bias. You know, as far as Stephen King goes, I've read enough Stephen King forever. So I'm not interested in this book. Just by a little random read. Anyway.